Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, students and faculty members and my fellow panelists. So this session is about pedagogy and curriculum. We'll bring in curriculum also if you have any question related to that. This session is more or less as a question answer kind of a session. It's not a monologue where we want to tell you whatever we have in our mind, but we would like to address your questions. At the same time, we will like to open that, giving the opening remarks. So I'm Rahul Mishra. I'm a professor of strategy at IILM. And my colleague, Dr. Rajkishan Nair, is a professor of economics, also at IILM, and he will be also speaking on the same. So let me just give you a brief about IILM and then the pedagogy which we follow. And more or less, I want to discuss about how MBA program is so unique. So IILM started in 1998 and 1993, and it's almost 28 years of existence now. And we are quite known in the Delhi NCR about the kind of pedagogy which we have followed. So we started with the concept of integrated learning, and this is what IILM stands for, Institute for Integrated Learning in Management. And we have been adapting to the best practices in the world and also in India. But let me just go back to the MBA program. MBA program as a master's program is quite different from other master's program which we have as MA Sociology or MA Geography or any kind of even MCOM. The reason being that you cannot learn business by just understanding the theory, and you have to apply whatever you learn, and you also get trained through the internships at the company, because it's almost like a learning by doing. I will give you an example for that. You all have iPhone or smartphone. Now imagine that you have to decide about the pricing of that iPhone or a smartphone which you have. How will you arrive at the pricing? Now for that, one is that, the gut feeling is one that, is a very, in one way to start with, that this could be the pricing and which could attract customers. But if I'm a trained manager, trained in a good business school, I need to know about the demand and supply. I need to understand the competitor's strategy. I need to know the cost of the production. I need to also know the forecast of that. I need to apply that, what kind of strategy I'm going to follow, whether it's a low cost, whether it's a premium pricing, whether I can connect all the dots for that. And I think that's very important for that. Rajkishan, if you want to come in here, if you have, let me just come back.
Yeah, welcome to this session. So as my colleague was already telling you, MBA classroom is a very diverse place. I don't know your profiles, but I'm sure there'll be people from commerce background, there'll be people from BA, arts, history, political science, economics. There could be BTechs around, there could be hotel management students, BBA, science. So such a diverse classroom doesn't exist anywhere else. No other program can boast of such a diverse classroom. And the most unique thing about, one of the most unique things about this program is that less than 2 years, you're going to walk into a job where you're going to be on your own. And as Professor Rahul was rightly saying, no particular domain knowledge per se is going to help you perform a particular task. So it's a combined, the application of the combined knowledge that you get in these 2 years, 18 to 24 months, that is going to help you perform multiple roles, multiple tasks in your career. And business organizations look for people with multitasking skills. They look for people who are all-rounders. The best organizations in the world look for people who are all-rounders. One of the reasons why pedagogy in an MBA classroom also is unique is because of these things that I told you. So Rahul told you about the pricing of a particular product where multiple factors from across various disciplines, various domains would help you in arriving at an answer. So what do you do as a manager typically? You solve problems, look for possible solutions, try to find possible solutions to existing problems or potential problems. And you don't solve these problems alone. That's the most interesting part. Organizations don't exist in silos. You have people from different parts of the country, different parts of the world, different walks of society, people with different beliefs, different perspectives, different backgrounds. You work with them in groups. So that itself makes the job very challenging. So how do you work in multiple groups from varied backgrounds, and try and find, if not instant, quick, see, time is money, quick solutions as early as possible. Arrive at solutions and try to solve the problems that the organization is facing. So the pedagogy that we adopt, that we have been adopting ever since IILM has been in existence, has been one where, as any other good B school in the world, the onus of learning is with you. We are facilitators. We perform the role of help you learn. We perform the role of make you learn that art of becoming lifelong learners. And hence, everything that we do in the classroom shapes a pedagogy which will help you constantly learn. So whether it's a case method or whether it's a blended class, or whether it's a flipped class, or it's a simulation, or it's a student-driven lecture, whatever it is, or an internship or a life project. So you are taking the onus of learning and you are driving your learning process. It's a self-directed learning process. So we will tell you what the details are. We would also like to hear from you. We'd also like to respond to your questions. Please feel free to come forward with your questions. We would love to respond to them. Rahul, would you like to pick it up?
So students, I think the point we are driving here is that MBA program is quite unique. It's an application based. Management as a discipline borrows from other sciences. It borrows from the concepts or theories and concepts of economics, psychology, statistics, mathematics, and it applies to solve a business problem. So if you are great in knowing all this stuff, that's fine. That's first step. But you also have to have an application oriented or bent of mind so that you become a great manager or a leader. At the same time, we borrow from psychology, say, for example, teamwork or organizational behavior or the leadership things which we discuss. We borrow from, from economics. I was telling you about the pricing of, say, iPhone, or pricing of a smartphone, and demand, supply, the cost factor, and other things in that. So it's the basic point. It's an application, and so there are two ways. I think Rajkishan, let me just complete in 1 minute, and then you can.
I'll just add one thing to help you.
Yeah,
of
please.
Late, to the mother subjects that Professor Rahul talked about, of late we have added technology to it. Yeah. So that's a new dimension.
Yes.
Please
Absolutely. I think AI is going to be the new electricity, and machine learning and data analytics and a lot of things which are really helping. Thank you, Rajkishan. So the point we're saying here is that the management program, if you do not apply, you really do not learn, and that's where the difference comes in. So one way to learn is to learning by doing, but the other is to get trained in a very structured process. And and there are ways to get trained. So first is say for example, case method of teaching and learning. Second is simulation. There are many ways you can learn. Third is through internship. Fourth is through trying to solve a company's problem through the live projects. All these issues which help you to solve the problem and which also help you to take decisions. I think ultimately the role of a manager is to take a decision, and whether and in a condition that you do not have all information, with you on that, and based on whatever that is available to you, you analyze, you take a bet, you go and decide, and then you take the decision, and as you evolve, and you evolve as you go along. So I think this is the core and the crux of the program. So it is as theoretical as it is the practical part. If you divorce theory from practice, it's not going to work. If you do not practice whatever you have learned, it's not going to work. And I think that's where you cannot learn management by just reading books. That's not like the other courses or other programs. You can learn, a lot of things by reading books also, but here you can't learn simply. You will learn when you start practicing that. You are learning, say, for example, you are borrowing something from psychology because you are reading consumer behavior, but you actually learn when you are, going and deciding about the marketing strategy, or trying to target consumer or target position your product, and understanding the consumer psychology. And I think that's the crux of the matter for the MBA program. So understand the difference. That's where most of the students in the undergraduate level, they come from a different mindset. They do not take advantage of the MBA program completely. The reason being that, undergraduate program remains quite theoretical, and that's good, not bad. But here the approach has to be different. And as Dr. Rajkishan was saying very rightly, that in onus of learning is you self-directed learning. If you don't ask question in class, you will not learn, I'm telling you. If you don't analyze, if you don't contribute to discussions, if you don't ask questions, you are not going to learn in an MBA class. It's not going to get a grade. I'm telling you, some of the toppers do not get selected in good companies. And some of the average students who have got great presentation skills or communication skills or great knowledge out, what's happening around the world, they get selected, So I'm telling you, one of the recruiters said to me in a FMCG company that, when I select a student, I see that what kind of extracurricular activities has he done or has she done in that, because the more you do, it shows that you have got extra energy, or, you can work very hard. And most of the FMCG company require that in the marketing department. So I think this is try to understand that methodology, and we also try to focus on that. And this is the point I'm saying.
So Rahul, I wanted to bring in a point here. Yeah, I wanted
Yeah.
to bring in a point here. I'm happy to state there are some of our students who are, who have joined us from our previous session also. I think Harshal, Chetan, Abhijit, I saw them in the previous session also, which is good. Welcome again. I think, Professor Mishra, you could also address that some of these students, our MBA students, have also studied BBA, in their undergrad, not just, any other humanities or science or tech. They may have studied BBA also. How does it, how will it, kind of be different from what they have studied in terms of the content, the curriculum, as well as the pedagogy? That is one question that you could address. Secondly, I was thinking that, if you could also make a comparison between India and international, colleges, universities, where majority of the MBA batch would have some kind of a work experience compared to Indian colleges and universities. So maybe those aspects you could bring in, in your discussion.
Yeah. So to address first is that, look, MBA program is genuinely for the people who have got some work experience. But in India, we have got a very different, even most of the IIMs, 90% of the students go without work experience. So I think one of the responsibilities of the institutions would be to find the avenues for some kind of work experience. So summer internship is one where you get 2 months or 3 months of training. And at the same time, there are live projects available which you can work with companies. A lot of our students are working online because now there's a lot of online work available. So they are working, side by side, pursuing this MBA also, just to get that work experience, trying to solve that problem. Whatever you have learned, can you apply that? So I think, one of the things which you can do while working and while doing this MBA program is to, find that avenue where you can work with company. And I think that will give you immense confidence, in yourself, in you, so that, you can take up the bigger responsibility later on. So this is one part. The second part, look, the BBA is a very basic kind of, the basic undergraduate level program. When you go to the MBA, I think the depth of the understanding or the coverage increases for that, and it goes much more. You look at the kind of courses which we have. Say, for example, I don't know how many of you have done a course like design thinking. So some, you might have studied microeconomics, but the microeconomics or macroeconomics with the kind of scenario or the kind of problem which they pose to the companies or to decision making, whether you have done it or not. And I think I have my questions on that. So I think the MBA program is much more intensive, much more in depth, and much more application oriented. If you have really done a good management program, you might have, I don't know how many of case studies you have done in the BBA program. What kind of courseworks have you done in the BBA program? What kind of problems have you solved in the BBA program?
Also
I'm just trying to
simulation.
compare it. Yeah, also simulation. What kind of, so BBA program is good at the basic level, but I think it's much more intensive and it's in depth in the MBA level.
Can I add
Yeah,
to
please.
it, Rahul? Yeah,
please.
thank you. So, addressing the specific audience from BBA. See, in India, the BBA is not a terminal degree. See, if you suppose you go to these countries like, say, Singapore or Malaysia, the BBA is considered a terminal degree. And therefore, the shape of the program is also different. Industry accepts BBA as a basic qualification for a job. In India, it's still not. So the focus of the program and the way the course is taught, for instance, even if they discuss a case, the focus of the case would not be that much in problem solving. It'd be more of concept clearing and what you call, where it becomes relevant in an industry context. So the same case you discuss in an MBA program, theoretically speaking, you would definitely discuss it from a problem solving perspective. MBA is a terminal degree which leads to a job in, as I told you earlier, in less than 24 months. So you're going to focus on finding solutions, possible solutions, and that too working in groups, not in silos, not in individual capacities, but in your groups, in diverse groups. And you learn perfect through practice, you learn multiple skills. So me and Professor Rahul were discussing about a recent article from Harvard Business Review on what the case method over the years have given to students. So Professor, the former Dean of Harvard Business School, he is talking about some skills called meta skills. What are meta skills? So lifelong abilities that will help you to learn more. So industry is looking for people like that. They are looking for, somebody asked a question, is the specialization fading? If organizations are looking for all-rounders, is specialization fading away? See, the specialization thing will remain, but that means that if I'm an HR manager, I'm only specialized in HR. To be an HR manager, I need to understand the financials of the company. I need to understand my competitors. I need to understand my product. I need to the organization as a whole entity, isn't it? So an MBA, a manager by definition is an all-rounder. He needs to know the organization as an entity. Okay, so specialization with the perspective of understanding the organization in an industrial, social, and organizational context. So that's what we are talking about. MBA or a PGDM program in India will give you a more applied problem solving, decision making, meta skill developing curriculum, and a pedagogy suited for that.
So Rajkishan, there's a question here. I think Satya Ranjan to what kind of course curriculum are we getting?
Would you like to go with that?
So Satya, what we are doing in the year one, and year one is that we follow trimester system. So most of you have gone through semester system 6 months, but here you complete a term in 3 months, almost 3.5 months. So in a year, you have got 3 trimester, or we follow trimester system. So first year, the all basics, from financial accounting to MIS, to microeconomics, to macroeconomics, to strategy, to HRM, to organizational behavior, individual dynamics, what it takes to become a manager, all kinds of activity which you do, which you need to understand, raising finance or corporate finance or working capital management, So first year is basic grounding of in the management program. So this is what you get in the first year. In the, starting from the term 4, then you do the summer internship. And I think the first year is so crucial, so important, that if you do very well, and if you do your summer internship very well, many of you would be going the pre-placement offer from the company. But suppose if you haven't got the pre-placement offer, but the first year is very, very crucial. Most of the questions that are being asked in the interview, final job interview, I think these are basic questions. If you understand basic, if you can answer that, you get the job. Starting from term 4 and 5, then you have got a specialization. So, different specialization. Its choice is yours. You can mix and match. You have to roughly do 12 courses. So term 4, 5, 6, that's where you do the electives, as we call them. And you can do the dual specialization, say in marketing or in HR, or, it's yours, or you do only marketing, or maybe minor in something else in that. So I think this is what you get in the MBA program at IILM. And the focus remains that you get a job, you align with your interests, with your strengths to the future job prospect. And that's very important for us to understand. If you are, say, good in communication, not good in maths, I think you should try to fashion your career into that area where, your communication skills are valued and you get a good job for that. If you are, say, good in maths and good in statistics or data and analytics, I think you can fashion your career into that area. So I think those opportunities exist, and that's how you can create a good, profile of yourself, and then there are practical aspects also, how to create LinkedIn profile, how to create a great CV, how to create a video CV, all these things are also, you get trained by the faculty members here, and it helps you to build a kind of a professional career 2 years down the line. Radkishan, you want to add?
There are some questions also coming up. Please keep looking.
Okay. HR specialization. Can you explain about HR specialization?
Yes.
So there is one of the question, HR specialization. Then there is another about extracurricular.
Yeah. So let me just HR specialization again. So traditional specialization electives are in finance, marketing, OBHR. And yes, but the good part is that, we are looking at the futuristic courses. Say, for example, HR analytics. That's becoming extremely important. Many of the companies are looking at analytics as a part of taking the HR decisions, whether it's a recruitment or appraisal or firing or whatever you have. So you have to have that kind of understanding. Suppose somebody is doing and then there are the courses apart from HR analytics, traditional courses of learning and development, or talent acquisition, or the courses
intentional networking, working with virtual teams.
Managing virtual teams or working with virtual teams. I think these are the courses which you get, compensation management, so all kinds of courses which we have. We offer almost like 8 courses in HR, so that you take 6 to 8 courses there, and then you can mix and match with the other courses you are interested in the marketing or any other area, general management for that. So I think those are the HR subjects, but most importantly, the futuristic courses which are going to be important for that. Yeah.
Would you like to add the HR package has been the best this year? The placement, would you like to add that also? I'm sure they'll be happy to know that.
Yeah, just to add to what Professor Rahul has been saying, Kundan's question. Nivedita, is there any other question after this?
Yes, sir. There's one other question from Ashok. He's asking regarding extracurriculars. The situation we are in makes us to learn from home. So how could the students gain experience on extracurricular activities, and how would internship work?
Okay, two questions, extracurricular and internships, isn't it? Yeah. Yes. Ashok, the ideal thing would have been face-to-face, accepted, but that's beyond our control. We are all hoping that we'll all come face-to-face soon. We are also raring. We are raring to go more than you. Okay, so that's the ideal scenario. But last year we had 12 activities conducted by 7 clubs. So students are not stopping short of anything. They are conducting extracurricular activities in the same zeal and vigor that they used to conduct offline. So whenever we come offline, we'll continue them, but things are happening offline as well, online as well. And internship, Rahul, you'd like to talk on that?
So no, what was the question? Sorry, I just got
in the offline, in the online environment, how would internships materialize?
Online, okay.
He had asked about 2 things, extracurricular, which I have answered, and online internships.
No, also you started with that. You are interested in offline classes or something like that?
No, that was, he was asking specifically about the extracurricular, which I replied.
Okay. So look, how would the internship work? Ashok, if I understand that internship you are asking about, so one is that, look, if the things become normal, and which we hope that by next academic year, I think things are going to be normal, but that's a guess kind of. So if things become normal, then you go for the face-to-face or the normal kind of work which you do in the summer internship. But online also, students in the last 2 years, they have done the online training, and some of them have enormously benefited. Let me tell you, many of the companies are promoting online work, and we need to become proficient in both, like the way we are talking to each other online, and when we come to face-to-face, we should be proficient in that also. So I think this is the kind of a hybrid work environment which is coming up across the world. Some of the companies are promoting work from anywhere concept. So I think those lines are blurring, or those lines are getting. So we are prepared for both. A lot of our students who have got a good placement this year or last year, they did online training. They did online training with not with the 1 companies, but 2 companies, and they manage very well, and they learned quite a lot. And hopefully they will be going back to offices, and we are all coming back to offices and doing very well on that. So we are prepared for both ways. Hopefully your batch will see the normal kind of environment, but even if it is not, I think we are prepared for that in both ways. Dr. Kakoli, I missed out. I think there was some disturbance in my
Yes, I think
connection.
You got logged out or something. Yeah. At that point of time, one of the students,
yes,
was asking about the HR.
Yeah, I remember, guys. I think there are a lot of there's a one student called Harsha Tirath. She's she got through BlackRock in the HR team, and she's still working. And so a lot of our alumni are working in a senior position in HR in many companies. HDFC Bank, the person who is the head of HR is from IILM, and we get HDFC Bank to campus because of him. So there are many of our students who are doing extremely well, in the HR area for that. And most of our faculty members are also very good in the HR area for that.
And this year, the HR, I was trying to tell them that this year, the HR CTC has been very good. At 10 lakhs, our student has been picked up. So, HR area and the HR domain. So, which is a very good jump. And there are quite a few questions that have come up, Professor Nair and Professor Mishra, that one of the students is asking about, I want to know about scope in business analytics. And somebody is talking about what clubs are there in the college to join. If someone has chosen marketing in BBA, but in MBA, they are wanting to take HR, is that okay? Then
can we go one by one? I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Okay.
So business analytics, look, if you're good in maths and statistics, I think, and if you have got interest in data, I think it has got a great career. You will have, the best of the jobs will be coming to that person or in that area. I think there's a huge opportunity coming in data analytics, in machine learning, in AI, and many of the things which are related to that. I think there's a huge opportunity, but you have to be really good at that. So you have to look at your strengths. If you are strong in quantitative, techniques or quantitative part, then I think you must be doing the data analytics. But even if you are not, let me tell you, suppose you are doing HR, the HR analytics paper is important. Marketing analytics paper is important. Say digital marketing is important. The digital is becoming the core of the business. For every company, the COVID has shown, every company like IKEA, Walmart, these are very hardcore companies, brick and mortar companies. They have created websites. Their, sales are growing on websites, so they are doing that. Even the old group like Tatas, which are into steel and the Tata Motors, they have created the whole branch of the company called Tata Digital. They've taken over Big Basket, 1MG. These are the startups they have taken over in order to go into the digital aspect. They are creating a super app, where all Tata products and companies will be there, and you can buy and sell and connect with as a buyer or supplier for that. So I think digital is becoming core of everything which is happening, and the COVID has accelerated that process. So anybody, we all have to be digital in some way or other. But if you're good in maths and statistics, I think you should go for data. There's a great future, waiting for you on that.
Thank you so much.
And Rahul, just to add, not to scare away people who are necessarily not necessarily good in maths or cons. See, data analytics and business analytics you have to view separately. If you're good in numbers, data analytics is good for you. Business analytics, not necessarily numbers. You are very logical, you are very analytical, and you are technically proficient. You can still get into business analytics or even digital analytics. Okay. See, ask yourself this question: does this excite me? Does numbers excite me? If it doesn't, maybe data analytics is not your cup of tea. But does technology or analytical reasoning or logical reasoning excite you and you're technically competent? Then business analytics would be your cup of tea. So these are choices you have to make. And that's what the first year, first 2 terms or 3 terms would equip you to understand. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, both of you. So, there are a lot of other questions also. So Abhijit has put across a question: what clubs are there in our colleges to join? So Abhijit, these sessions are very focused. This particular, we are doing this every week, and we are dedicating to one particular aspect of the MBA life, MBA PGDM life. So this one in particular is about the curriculum and the pedagogy. So come and join us, the club, session, and we will talk to you a lot more in detail. Otherwise, we will be all over the place. So let's focus.
Not to disappoint him, I'll just give one thing connected to pedagogy. Abhijit, we have a movie club. We used to watch a movie called, as part of my course on microeconomics, we also used to watch a movie called The Bicycle Thief. It's an old black and white movie. We would watch it and discuss how the concept of commodities or consumption has evolved in the last 60, 70 years. So we have number of clubs, and we try to relate whatever we do inside the classroom to these clubs. Okay, so that synergy is always there. Yes, ma'am said we'll discuss that elsewhere.
But yes, absolutely, Prasanna. Thank you. And there are so many other clubs. Abhijit will not be able to answer it in one line. There are so many clubs. There are, related to the curriculum, outside curriculum, and we want to show you, some of the videos of what students have done. So do join us in that session. And we'll move on now. Suraj has asked if someone has chosen marketing specialization in BBA, but in MBA he or she is planning HR. Is that helpful? Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's no harm, and both marketing and HR can go hand in hand. I think, they will look that, what have you done in the MBA program for that. And let me tell you, I think, some of the concepts of marketing are very applicable in HR also. And
Vice versa.
And vice versa, yeah. Vice versa also, if you're a marketing guy and, you are heading a sales team, whether it's a recruitment, whether it's a reward, whether it's a compensation, appraisal, all kinds of things which you need to do, which is kind of an HR subject, as we know that. So this is specialized. So I think, yes, absolutely, it will do wonderful. You need to be passionate about, you need to have those skill sets in order to, and you need to excel in that area in order to get a great job, or a great job in a good company in that.
Can I add something? See, whoever that question came from. So, we have had students. In fact, 2 years back, we had two sisters. They never did finance. Both of them are working in Deloitte. We had a student who did marketing, and he's doing an accounts manager profile in Amazon. So that's why we said in the beginning itself, good organizations, the better organizations of the world are always looking for all-rounded people who have expertise in all disciplines, multiple domains, and multitasking skills. That's why probably the lines of specialization are blurring.
So Chetan has asked another question. He says, how is the MBA in finance field designed? Is there any certification course also apart from the internships and live projects?
So look, we believe that, we are teaching the basics of finance, and which are, if you want a finance job or a banking job, or, we have also added, I think, data analytics, the financial analytics course elective. We are also adding the fintech as a kind of an minor specialization in that. Blockchain, cryptocurrency, these are the cutting edge of finance which is happening on that. I don't think it's required. If you do well in your program, if you do well in your core courses, and then the specializations, and bring in those data and the analytics and the fintech and all these specialization, I think it will help you to get the best of the jobs available in finance. But suppose if you're interested in some area to get some additional training, I think you are more than, you can do it. But I would suggest that focus on the MBA program. Don't take it lightly. The more you go in depth, the more you do activities here, the better is your chance to get a good job from the campus.
Yeah. Rahul, can I add this MOOC thing?
Please.
We also insist that you do certain MOOC courses from the best online platforms in the world in your areas of interest. So if you feel that you are missing something in your program, which is very comprehensive and rigorous, say in your interest areas of finance or data analytics or business analytics, you can pick up. So it's as part of the plan that you'll do 1 or 2 MOOC courses from Coursera or edX or from MIT. So that's possible. That's possible, but that's not an accidental thing. That's as part of the defined credit sheet. So it is there. You can do these courses online.
So there is another question which has come up from somebody who's not put in his name or her name. Sir, will we be taught about the process of D2C, since this technique has become quite popular in digital era?
So what do you mean by the D2C here? I think if you can answer that.
The name is not mentioned there.
Yeah.
So I think he's talking about digital to consumer.
So I think
direct to consumer.
Okay. So will we be taught about the process of direct to consumer? So I look, all these aspects of whether it's a digital marketing or whether the omni-channel retail or so all these aspects. So I think that's really part of the new phenomenon, as we call that, what you're calling the D2C. But so all the digital aspect which you see, that the marketing or the retailing or in the digital marketing, I think those things are being taught, if you mean by that. I mean, if I'm understanding you clearly.
My understanding is there are two courses. There are two courses in this area, in electives, not in the core courses. The core courses mention about the emerging trends, and I think we have two electives, which will give you this understanding, this knowledge.
Right. So somebody is asking what other, skill and ability enhancement kind of activities are done. And there is another question on how many internships do we get in a year's time? So I think the MBA structure, PGDM MBA structure needs to be explained.
So I think you first, you start in July and you finish your end of April. And then you do the May and June summer internship. It may get extended also for 15 days or maybe maximum at 30th of 31st of July for that. So 2 to 3 months are, 8 weeks is essential, and it could extend up to 12 weeks. So I think, and that's very important. If you have done your first year very well and then your summer internship very well, I think some of you will be getting pre-placement offer because you create an impact in the minds of your employer there. But even if you don't, then you come back and do your electives in term 4, 5. Again, start facing interviews, final job interviews, and then by term 6, if you require, if you have a live project, if you have already got a job and you are yet to join the company, then you can do it. But the focus always remain, apart from the summer internship for 8 to 12 weeks, the focus will remain that you do your basic courses very well, electives very well, and get a good job from the campus. Once that is done, I think you get an additional opportunity for internship. Meanwhile, if there's an online opportunity which you can manage along with your electives or core courses, we will always open that for you on that.
Yeah. Can I just add something? When you go for the interview, the interviewers don't ask you, where have you done it? They'll ask you, what have you done and how have you done it? So it's the focus on what you are doing and how you are doing, which will, of course, reward you. The number of internships doesn't necessarily matter. And in the kind of program that we offer, you won't have the time and space to think about anything else other than this 12. It's a very rigorous process, rigorous program, and it's well defined and structured. You are, unless and until some companies coming up and saying, send the students to us for 18 weeks, say 3 months, we'll give him a job offer. Then as a special case, maybe we'll think about it, but that's an exception. Otherwise, internships are 8 to 12 weeks.
So I think at this point of time, Professor Mishra and Professor Nair, you could also mention the dissertation, which is there in term 6, and how rigorous it is and how does it start. And we probably start in term 3 with the business research methods, and we take them through that.
Yeah, right. I think one of the things we encourage students to go deep dive and into area where you feel that that could you are interested in. Say, for example, if you are interested in e-commerce as an area, you want to join company like Amazon or Flipkart and others, I think we encourage you to do some research in the emerging areas in e-commerce, and that's where the dissertation helps you. It's equivalent to 9 credits, means 3 papers on that, and it starts with the business research method. You take up a problem, you define that problem, you try to go for the literature review, you go deep dive, you understand what's being done in the current research. Say, for example, consumer behavior. I'm just taking an example for that. Consumer behavior in booking on the travel websites. Or the booking the ticket for that. If I'm interested in Make My Trip and Expedia and iBibo on things like that. So, I deep dive and do some research, then build a questionnaire and then analyze the data. My understanding about that topic becomes much deeper compared to any one of the classmates or any of the competitor which I have. So I think that's the important part. And you develop research-based decision-making also ability. Most of the time when you go actually and going, say, 5 years from now after doing MBA, you have to have the evidence-based decision-making, the data-based, the research-based, that, you take decision not the gut feeling. Some people do take, but at the same time, you also take decision based on the research based on that, on the data based on that. And I think that skill set is also we are trying to imbibe through the dissertation on that. So
yeah, I'll quickly add 3 points. See, the dissertation also tries to focus on 3 things. One, critical thinking. When you have something happening before you, how do you evaluate something critically? Critical thinking, and as Professor Rao rightly said, informed decision making, and develop the ability to be a lifelong learner. How do you perfect a method by which you can be a lifelong learner? So you're studying a problem on your own, a phenomenon happening before you on your own. Through that, and you're doing it at an intensive scale, intensive and elaborate scale. So that's probably one step ahead to the future, where you are starting the process of learning something on your own. So dissertation is a step in that direction: critical thinking, informed judgment, and starting the journey to be a lifelong learner. Yes.
Thank you. There are some very interesting questions here. One of them is asking, okay, Madhusudan has put across a question. Can I know which field is better off, HR or marketing in terms of placement in IILM? I hope looks like you did not join our last week's session on placement, Madhusudan. Please, try and follow these sessions. We talked about it in depth, that, whether HR is better or marketing is better. So maybe briefly, Professor Mishra and Professor Nair, you could talk about this.
So Madhusudan, I take a very different approach. What you're good at, what you're very passionate about, or passionate about a particular field. If you are, really good in those skill sets which are required in HR manager, I think go for HR. Maybe initially it could be tough, less job opportunity compared to marketing, but over the years you will do really well and you will love your job. At the same time, if you are good in the skill sets which are required to become a marketing manager or sales manager, go for that. I think it's equally rewarding. So you need to see, it's also a kind of a self-discovery. You need to see that 15 years of education, from class 1 to graduation, you have built certain strengths and build your career on those strengths. Everywhere there are opportunities available.
Thank you. And a very related question is by Vishesh. Which one is the best specialization to be an all-rounder? I hope, Vishesh, your question was answered. There is nothing called, said like this. You have to choose what you want to do based on what you are capable of and what would you like to do, and build on your skills. I think that would be the best approach, so that we know what we are going into and we know what we have.
And ma'am, can I add something to it? And Vishesh, as you go along, you will also realize that you like a particular profile. You like to perform a certain function. So I want to work in the front desk of a bank. I want to do a research job. I want to be an HR manager. So that means I'm doing that. I want to do a consultant's role. I want to do a multitasking job. I want to work with an aggressive startup. So it depends on my interest also. Whether I want a job where I need multiple skills, multiple domain knowledges, or I am just looking at a very, very narrow specific specialization job. So it depends on your preferences also.
I will strongly recommend you to watch Shark Tank India. And see that the responses of the investors, and could be a future employer also. They are looking for people who are passionate. They are looking for people who have really gone into the details of what they know about what they're talking. So I think it's a great, if you want to learn about business, those ideas, also, because if there are no consumers, there's no business, because, somebody has to pay for that, what you're offering. So I think it will be great if you are interested in business and management, but I think Shark Tank India is a great, serial or that reality show to watch right now in order to understand the business and the kind of energy you see at smaller towns also. People who are not trained, but let's see that. So that's why, you build on your strength, marketing, HR, analytics, finance, fintech, whatever. Every field has got so many opportunities available.
Okay, thank you, Professor Mishra. So there are quite a few questions about the placement or internship related. So Shubhangini has also asked a similar question. So I would suggest all the students that we've conducted, more than an hour-long session on placement and internships last week, and we have the video recording of that. So we'll share that recording with you, because there is no one-line answer to these questions, right? And they need to be, talked in depth, and you need to understand the context and the process about it. So do watch the video, and if there is still any question, please feel free to join us, and we can discuss at length about that. Yeah.
So Dr. Kakoli, if I answer about Shivangini, yeah. Shivangini, I think it's not about the company, but it's about the kind of project work which you know. Suppose if you are interested in HR, it's not about the company, but you need to get an HR project for the summer internship. That's important. So that will help you to transition in that. Yeah.
Great. So we have a question from Ashok Khanna, who says, how often would we have guest lectures, and who would give these lectures?
So great. I think, look, it's a regular feature, and particularly with online thing, we have been able to get guest lecturers across the world. And when I'm saying across the world, I really mean that. We last year, we had our professors from Kellogg School of Management talking to our students, California State University. A lot of senior people from the industry, they also talked about. So I think those things are there. It's going to be a regular feature, whether it's a face-to-face or online.
Great. And so students, if there are any more questions, please let us know. There is one question again from anonymous attendee. He's written, I am not confused. I think this he meant, I am now confused in between two specializations. How do I choose which one is better for me?
So I think I answered that question.
Yeah.
Look at your strengths, what you're really good at. And I think Professor Rajkishan has also told you, if you're good in research, numbers, is a desk job. There are companies like, say, Protiviti and others that I think there are one student, I think Himanshu Sharma.
Rahul, can I answer that question in a different way?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, but this anonymous attendee doesn't allow us to address him.
Okay.
It's too early days. It's too early days. Don't unless you might have done a BBA, doesn't matter. The first year of the PG MBA program across the world is designed in such a way, it will ignite your interest. You will get to know by the end of term 2 what you are good at, what excites you, what you're passionate about, and what you're going to pursue. Interests will definitely change. And keep your mind open, keep your outlook open, and explore the world as much as you can. Read as much as you can, watch videos as much as you can. As Professor Mr. rightly said, watch programs like Shark Tank or similar things across media, you will get that. So don't limit yourself by thinking that I'm going to do HR, I'm going to do marketing. You might have certain skills, but things will change. I've seen people coming back after summer internship and saying, no, I'm not going to do this job, I'll do this. People who never wanted to do sales coming after sales and saying, I'll do sales. Yeah, Nivedita.
Since we are running out of time, the last question we would want to take up is from Suraj. Is there any changes in business research method or format comparing BBA?
So Nivedita, I will just answer what Sarthak has also asked. These are the last two questions we'll address. Sarthak, your question is also very related to what Professor Mishra and Professor Nair were talking about, that which specialization would work best for family business in automotive industry. Now, it also depends on what role you are taking in that business, right? If you're taking a finance role, if you're taking a marketing role, if you're taking international business role or an HR role, it depends on the role. So for that, you need to know yourself first. And that happens when you start going through the foundation courses. We also have a system of a coach, a faculty coach who will be attached with you, who will help you, address your queries, who will help you identify what your strengths, and areas of work are. So that happens through a process. As I said, there are no one-liner answers to these questions that you have. These 2 years are a process of learning, and it will happen over a period of time. So more or less, we've addressed your question. Now we'll take the last question by Suraj, which Nivedita has brought up. That is there any change in the business research method or format compared to the BBA? Yeah. So Mishra,
Suraj, if I understand, look, business research, it's a scientific way of doing research, and I think the steps are same. Whether defining a problem or creating a design for research or doing the literature review or building questionnaire or and getting the data or analyzing the data and coming up with the results or hypothesis or whether there's a null hypothesis or so there's a scientific way. The steps are there for that. So I don't know what kind of books or what kind of course you have gone through at the BBA level, but the basics remaining same, but the depth is going to be much more intensive. It's much more in depth in the MBA program, and where you take and it's a really important skill set. I'm telling you, when you go, even if I'm not doing the primary research, all of us are supposed to do a lot of secondary research from the credible websites. You are preparing marketing plan, you are doing a business plan, you are writing or whatever you are doing, that you have to do credible secondary research from the credible websites. It's a skill set which most of the companies want you to have. Primary research, as you know, this is a scientific process. So not much change from the BBA to MBA, except that it's a depth, it goes much more. And just to add one more point, the safe example, the softwares which you use, whether you are using whether it's Excel or SPSS or many other softwares which are required for that. Yeah, Rajkishan and Dr. Kaka.
Very quickly, ma'am. So, since the level at which you are discussing the subjects in the postgraduate program would be different, you would definitely need some extra tools to analyze the problem. So qualitative research is something where undergraduate level in India, you don't do much. You just touch upon the surface. So you are going to do qualitative research, in-depth qualitative research, and certain extra tools which you don't do at the BBA level. And as Professor Rahul rightly said, you'll do some softwares or some programs, say R or Python or something, which you're going to probably apply to write your dissertation. So this drives to a dissertation. Your BRM is the first stage of the dissertation, which need not necessarily be the case in a BBA. So you have an output for the BRM course. So that's the major difference.
Absolutely. So Professor Nair, Dr. Nair, I'll just add to that, as you rightly said. So, the question that you have is that, are the methods different? What is the difference, Suraj? The methods or the steps will be the same, whether you do it in the BBA or you do it in the MBA or you do it in the PhD or even beyond. The steps don't change, right? But the intensity, the depth of the application of those steps do change. The context changes. So as Professor Nair also said, that, it leads to the business research methods. We start in the term 3. Then term 4, there is another related paper, term 5, and then you finally go into term 6 and come up with an output of called a dissertation, which is equivalent to 3 papers. Professor Mishra talked about that it has 9 credits. So which means each paper, which is of 3 credits, dissertation is equal to 3 papers. So that much depth is expected. And also there are, we encourage students to write the dissertation in such depth and make it so useful so that it can be converted into a research paper and be published in one of the leading journals. That is the quality that is expected out of the MBA dissertation, which probably may not be applicable so much in the BBA. That may not be the expectation at the BBA level. So the depth of the report or the dissertation that you give, which it will be useful in your placement interviews also, you can actually talk about, because we ask you to do in-depth sectoral study, or depending on whatever your topic you're choosing, in-depth study, which becomes, you know, one of the things in your portfolio when you actually go for an interview for placement. So it adds a lot of value there. It is a very different level of research that we are talking about. I hope that answers your question. We've tried to address all the questions of the students so far, whatever you know, we, to the best of our abilities. I think yeah. So thank you all for joining us today. We will send you the video link of this particular session. We would also expect you or invite you for all the other sessions. This is a weekly open house session on a specific topic done by the IILM professors. So do join us and let us know what else you would like us to address on, and we'll be able to organize, you know, a session around that. Thank you so much for joining in. Take care all. Thank you.